Please settle in, dear friend, and let your thoughts drift as I tell you a gentle story, one full of quiet courage and the surprising warmth of new friendships. It's a tale about an old man, a young boy, a house that flew, and the soft whisper of a dream that finally found its way home. Our story begins a very long time ago, with a small, imaginative boy named Carl Fredrickson. Carl was a quiet child, enchanted by the tales of a grand adventurer named Charles Muntz, who explored faraway lands in his magnificent airship, the Spirit of Adventure. One day, Carl stumbled upon a wonderful discovery. A vibrant, bustling house, which was, in fact, the clubhouse of an equally spirited girl named Ellie. Ellie, with her bright eyes and boundless energy, also dreamed of adventure. She shared with Carl her most cherished aspiration: to one day move her entire clubhouse right onto the very edge of a place called Paradise Falls, a legendary South American plateau where a mighty waterfall tumbled in a perpetual mist. Carl, completely captivated by her adventurous spirit, made a silent promise, a solemn vow to help her reach that incredible place. As the years unfolded, Carl and Ellie's friendship blossomed into a beautiful love story. They built a life together in that very house, which became their beloved home, filled with laughter, the soft clinking of teacups, and the shared warmth of quiet evenings. They painted mailboxes, held hands on the porch swing, and continued to dream of Paradise Falls. They even started a special savings jar, slowly filling it with coins for their grand adventure. Life, however, has a way of presenting its own gentle adventures and quiet delays. A flat tire, a leaky roof, or a small medical expense would often mean dipping into the Paradise Falls fund. Yet through it all, their love remained a steady, comforting glow. Carl would often find Ellie looking through her treasured adventure book, a handmade scrapbook of their shared dreams and collected memories. Though the journey to Paradise Falls never seemed to quite materialize in their younger years, their life together was, in itself, the most profound and wonderful adventure. Eventually, dear Ellie, with her bright spirit and adventurous heart, grew old and peacefully passed away, leaving Carl in their quiet house, surrounded by the gentle echoes of their shared life. The house, once a bustling hub of two hearts, now felt very still. Carl remained, a somewhat grumpy but deeply kind old man, holding on to every memory, every item, as a precious reminder of his beloved Ellie. The world around Carl, however, was changing rapidly. Towering new buildings began to rise, slowly encroaching upon his charming, old-fashioned neighborhood. Developers, eager to build more, saw Carl's house as simply a piece of land in their path. One day, during a small misunderstanding with a construction worker, Carl's long-held frustration bubbled over, resulting in a gentle nudge that unfortunately went a little further than intended. This led to a court order. Carl was to move to a quiet retirement community called Shady Oaks, but Carl had another plan, a much grander one, whispered by the silent promise he'd made to Ellie all those years ago. The night before he was due to move, Carl set his plan into motion. He had secretly collected tens of thousands of colorful balloons, each a soft, buoyant sphere of hope. Carefully, he attached them to his dear house. As the morning sun painted the sky with gentle hues, the balloons slowly, majestically lifted the entire house from its foundations. It rose, a wondrous, floating spectacle, drifting softly into the vital blue Tumskin on its way to Paradise Falls. Carl, settled in his armchair, envisioned a peaceful, solitary journey. However, a small, unexpected knock disturbed his quiet contemplation. To his utter surprise, a cheerful, persistent wilderness explorer scout named Russell was clinging to his porch. Russell, in his earnest quest to earn his final Assisting the Elderly badge, had been persistently trying to help Carl, and had inadvertently become an airborne passenger. Carl, though initially annoyed by this unexpected company, could do nothing but carry on. And so, their incredible journey truly began. Together, the old man, the young boy, and the house held aloft by a canopy of balloons, traversed vast oceans and majestic mountains, pushed gently by the wind. It was a long, wondrous passage, a true testament to the power of a dream. Finally, after a journey through swirling storms and sunlit skies, they landed, not quite at the exact spot Ellie had envisioned, but very close to the imposing, flat-topped mountains that guarded Paradise Falls. Once on the ground, their adventure deepened. They encountered a remarkable, tall, colorful bird, unlike any Carl had ever seen. Russell, with his open heart, immediately named her Kevin and formed an instant bond with the playful creature. Kevin was a most unusual companion, full of delightful squawks and curious antics. Soon after, they met another extraordinary friend, a golden retriever named Doug, who wore a special collar that allowed him to speak. Doug was a lovable, slightly goofy dog, and he immediately declared Carl his new master, pledging his unwavering loyalty. The little group of Carl, Russell, Kevin, and Doug, with the floating house tethered nearby, began their slow, careful trek across the mysterious plateau towards the thundering wonder of Paradise Falls. Unbeknownst to them, their new friends were attracting a different kind of attention. The legendary adventurer Charles Muntz, the very hero of Carl's childhood, was still alive, living on his magnificent airship, the Spirit of Adventure, which was anchored nearby. But Muntz was no longer the brave, noble explorer Carl remembered. He was a man consumed by an obsession, having been disgraced years ago for claiming to have discovered a unique bird, the very kind of bird Kevin was. Muntz had devoted his life to finding one to prove his story, and he had a pack of talking dogs, led by the stern Alpha, aiding his tireless search. The first encounter was an unsettling one. Muntz, initially appearing friendly, soon revealed his true, rather stern intentions. He quickly recognized Kevin as the very bird he sought, and with a chilling determination, attempted to capture her. Carl, Russell, and Doug found themselves in a series of swift pursuits and careful maneuvers, trying to protect their feathered friend from Muntz's relentless grasp. Carl found himself torn. He wanted to fulfill Ellie's dream of getting the house to Paradise Falls, yet his heart was being gently pulled towards protecting these new, unexpected companions. The conflict grew more intense. Muntz and his loyal but stern dogs chased them through ancient caves and across rocky terrain. Carl's house, now his only tangible link to Ellie, became both a sanctuary and, at times, a burden. He had to make difficult choices, often prioritizing the safety of his friends over the careful preservation of his floating home. During one particularly desperate moment, as Muntz's dogs closed in, Carl had to make a painful decision. Faced with the immediate danger to his beloved house, which represented Ellie's memory, Carl inadvertently created an opening for Muntz to capture Kevin. Russell, heartbroken by this turn of events, felt deeply let down, believing Carl had abandoned their friend. Kevin was taken, and Carl was left with his house, but a heavy sadness settled in his heart. Later that evening, sitting alone in his house, Carl found Ellie's cherished adventure book. He carefully turned the pages, expecting to see the empty pages she had left for their future adventures. But there, at the very end, he found new pictures, photos of their shared life, their simple joys, their love. And on the final page, in Ellie's familiar handwriting, was a tender message that softened his heart. "Thanks for the adventure. Now go have a new one." It was as if Ellie, from beyond, was giving him permission to let go of the past and embrace the future, to cherish new experiences and new friendships. A profound realization dawned upon Carl. His greatest adventure wasn't just about reaching Paradise Falls with the house. It was about the journey itself and the people he met along the way. His adventure with Ellie had been beautiful and complete, and now it was time for a new chapter. With a renewed sense of purpose, Carl left his house, leaving behind the weight of his old dream, and went to rescue Kevin. Russell, brave and determined, had already set off alone to save Kevin, taking a few balloons from the house to attempt his own flight. Carl, now accompanied by the ever-faithful Doug, quickly followed, making their way towards the vast spirit of adventure. The rescue mission led them right into a final dramatic confrontation with Muntz on his impressive airship. It was a chase through the grand interior of the vessel, a flurry of careful maneuvers and quick thinking. Carl, with Doug loyally by his side and Russell showing immense courage, worked together to outwit Muntz and his remaining dogs. In a pivotal moment, Carl was faced with the choice of saving his house or saving his friends. Without hesitation, he chose his friends, letting go of the heavy furniture that kept his house tethered, allowing it to drift away, free and unburdened. Muntz, in his desperate attempt to recapture Kevin and destroy the house, found himself in a precarious position. He stumbled, his grip failing, and he drifted away into the vastness below, disappearing into the distant clouds. With the danger past, Carl, Russell, and Doug gently brought the spirit of adventure back to civilization. Kevin, safe and sound, was returned to her awaiting babies, a joyful reunion under the soft South American sun. Back home, Carl discovered his beloved house had, in fact, completed its journey. Lightened by Carl's release of its contents, it had settled perfectly, peacefully, right beside Paradise Falls, just as Ellie had always dreamed. It stood there, a quiet monument to a lifetime of love and dreams, bathed in the gentle mist of the waterfall. Carl, now with a new lightness in his heart, embraced his new role. He attended Russell's Wilderness Explorer ceremony, proudly pinning the Ellie badge, not a new official badge, but Ellie's beloved grape soda pin, onto Russell's sash, a symbol of their shared adventures and Carl's new, expanded family. Carl and Russell, with Doug happily by their side, spent their days doing simple, wonderful things, sharing ice cream, counting cars, and creating new, quiet adventures together, all within the comforting embrace of their new, unconventional family. And so, dear friend, Carl found that true adventure isn't always about grand voyages to faraway lands, but often about the quiet, unexpected joys found in friendship, kindness, and the loving embrace of new beginnings. His heart, once heavy with loss, was now full of warmth and the soft glow of a peacefully fulfilled life. May your dreams tonight be just as gentle and full of tranquil serenity. Rest now,